Hi, my name is Queen Williams, and I am going to be performing an original piece today. It's called Trigger. And actually, I don't have it memorized, so I'll be just reading it off of paper here. And yes, I hope that you get something out of it. Trigger. When I was younger and just learning about guns, I could never fathom how it must feel to get shot. I couldn't quite swallow the idea of seeing the gun that would end my life, the scattered moment when the brain can't think right before the twitching finger that pulls the trigger and sends the unstoppable bullet. The first time I learned how it felt to get shot, I was 18. The trigger, a video. Standard sexual assault training at the Women's Center, the bullet came next, sending with it a burst of memories that I thought I had buried beneath apparent apathy, unshelled by teeming indifference. And this bullet can't end a life, but it can make me think I'm dying. The impact so strong, so full of fear and shame, it sends me crying home that day. I clutch my chest later and wonder why the blood's not coming. Why there's no apparent evidence of my wound. How could I survive seeing the trigger pulled and not die? Trigger, the lever pressed by the finger to discharge a firearm. You would think that one who survived watching a speeding bullet tear its way through the air towards her would never have to do it again. I should never have to see the trigger pulled twice, but I did. It was 2 weeks later, same place, different video, this time showing a woman assaulted in a park, the guys thinking it was all in fun, which induced memories of being 15 and roughly in the same situation. Trigger, a small device that releases a spring or catch and so sets off a mechanism, and each trigger was more painful than the last. Each bullet lodged deeper and deeper into the walls of my defense, the thick layer of cocoon I keep around myself to keep me safe. Safety is nowhere to be found with swift bullets being fired from all around. There's always a potential trigger. Trigger, an event that precipitates other events. Trigger. Especially when you're a gender and sexuality major and no one ever asks the right questions. They ask, how do you like your major? And what do you want to do with your major? Instead of, well, why did you choose your major? And didn't you know that all those assigned readings on sexual assault would inevitably send unfeeling bullets and constant triggers your way? This is all your fault. I guess the same way it's my fault I followed that boy that day. Trigger. But no one ever asked me anyway. Life is a minefield. One faulty step could dislodge a trigger to set off, to initiate, that leaves me completely unhinged. One wrong look, that last cat call on the street, one dark walk to a car in a shadowy lot are all triggers, tearing right through me. I find myself always staring down the barrel of a gun these days and waiting for the pull of the trigger to explode or fire. If I could go back in time and warn that little girl from so many years ago, I would explain to her that guns are awfully scary things, but they are nothing without the triggers that set them into action. I would try to make her understand that no metal projected towards her could ever have the effect of a speeding memory that hits with the force of 2 uncaring boys and 5 years ignored, and she should be careful not to play with guns. But mostly, she should learn to live with the memories. Invite them in one day. Ask them to take off their hats. Sit them down to tea. Really get to know them. And maybe then the triggers won't be so harsh, but most of all, she should know that it probably won't go away too quickly. That hands that hold down and hurt leave awfully bad impressions on you, and there will always be days where you feel tired or scared, weeks where you have to hide your fear like slick black metal within the folds of loose clothes, and months that go by without you really trusting a soul. And it will always make you feel as heavy as lead inside to remember, but one day it will be time to drop the hurt and anger like old bullet casings, and you will face the trigger and see that it has no power over you, and perhaps they were only blanks, empty casings all along, but regardless, in your struggle, you were never wrong, and your life is worth so much more than a twitching finger. Trigger: a strong emotional reaction set off by words or images that remind the person of a traumatic event. Trigger.